Yo guys, InsaneGamer52 here, and today I'm going to show you the easiest way to get between 10 and 15 million points on the new Dead Ops Arcade Leaderboard event in Black Ops 7 Zombies. Alright, so this guide is going to cover pretty much everything you need to know, even if you've never really played Dead Ops before on Black Ops 7. And if you're only interested in a certain section, I do have timestamps down below too. Before we get going, I just wanted to give a shout out to my buddy XL Tuna and Rambo aka the Moz Project on YouTube. I would not know 90% of what I'm about to tell you guys without their help, and there's a link to Rambo's channel in the description if you want help with anything else Dead Ops related. Alright, so starting off, the general strategy for this event relies on two things: getting a high multiplier early on, and keeping that multiplier through the high rounds. To do this, I highly recommend playing on casual mode, since you can take more hits, which will help you not go down as often. If you're on keyboard and mouse, I do recommend running the first person mode, since the top down is definitely catered more towards controller players. If you're on controller, then you have the option of either, and both have their benefits. On top down, you can zoom out and see pretty much the entire map at all times, which makes keeping track of your surroundings easier. There's also a first person power up that makes it so that your minimum multiplier is 4 times, which can be a nice option for a quick boost in the lower rounds. First person is going to feel a lot more familiar for most people and lets you sprint, mantle, and have a minimap. You can also take more hits, which makes survival a bit easier if you're aware of your surroundings. Both choices are going to play similarly, it's really just which one you're going to be more comfortable with. Just a heads up that this strategy does work best solo, but if you'd rather play co-op, you can all still probably get between 8 to 12 million points apiece. Next up, there are a few Gobblegums that will be extremely helpful. To start off, I recommend running Tactical Diffusion, Who's Keeping Score, and Crate Power as your first 3, with wall-to-wall clearance and exit strategy to round out the pack. Tac Diffusion makes it so that every nuke you use in the next 90 seconds also gives you an extra 2,000 Slayer Mart cash. You start every round with a minimum of 1 nuke, so can pop this at the end of round 1, then get a quick $6,000 from using a nuke at the end of round 1, during round 2, and at the beginning of round 3. Who's Keeping Score gives you a ton more treasure drops for 5 minutes, which will last through 3 to 4 rounds and be a huge jumpstart early on. Crate Power makes it so that your next death doesn't drop any gems, which means you keep your multiplier and is essential for getting a high score. It's also always active in the background, so you can pop it, then replace it with another gum, and I recommend a second Crate Power just to be safe. If you ever go down, make sure to pop that back up right after reviving, just in case you go down again before getting to the next Gobblegum machine. These are the only 3 gums you should be using up through round 12. On round 12, I would swap to having Crate Power, wall-to-wall clearance, and exit strategy. Wall-to-wall clearance drops a nuke every 10 seconds for 2 minutes, which keeps you pretty safe for an entire round, or lets you focus big damage on bosses. Bosses spawn after round 12, 28, and finally the Papaback on round 40, and you definitely want to have this on you for them. And exit strategy makes it so that any chicken eggs give you 4 to 5 bonus Slayer Mark coins, which can be useful in a specific situation. Grab this on round 12, and you're hoping to use it on the Chicken Nest bonus room, which has a chance to show up after round 15, 19, or if you pick up an arcade machine power-up. This room has 14 chicken eggs, which means that exit strategy can give you up to 7,000 extra Slayer Mart cash. If you don't get the Chicken Nest by round 20, I would convert exit strategy and swap to your second pack. This one is going to include wall-to-wall clearance, Crate Power, respin cycle, anywhere but here, and aftertaste. Wall-to-wall clearance and Crate Power serve the same purpose as before. Respin cycle spawns a tank or chopper power-up, which can be huge for staying safe and putting big damage on bosses. It gives you a ton of damage since you can't die and can solely focus on bosses. Just know that there is quite a delay after using it before the vehicle spawns. Anywhere but here gives you a 5-minute chicken, which basically doubles your damage for that time. And aftertaste makes it so that you keep all chickens and armor on death, which is nice to have just in case. Just like Crate Power, you can use this and just have it active in the background, then replace it with another gum. Starting off the match, the absolute first thing I would do if you're playing top down is hit your swap weapon button like triangle or Y. This will zoom you out, and you want to set your camera to extra high to see pretty much the entire map at all times. Next off, if you're on controller, go into your start menu and select the Dead Ops Arcade settings underneath account and network. The very bottom option is alternate field upgrade mapping for gamepad, which you want to enable. This makes it so that you press in your right joystick to activate field upgrades instead of hitting L1 and R1 like in normal zombies, which makes it less likely to accidentally activate nukes and boosts, and also makes your nukes and boosts more responsive as a nice side effect. Go ahead and pop your Who's Keeping Score and Crate Power Gobblegums right off the bat. Your score multiplier in the top left only increases when you pick up treasure items like silver, gold, and gems. Who's Keeping Score will spawn a ton of extra treasure through the first 3 to 4 rounds, which really helps amp up your multiplier quickly. Spend the early game getting used to things by surviving and picking up as much treasure as you can. The most important tip to help not die while training zombies is make sure to kill every zombie in your path before turning around to kill the horde behind you. If you ever get into a situation where you feel stuck, you do have speed boosts that will zip you across the map and nukes that will kill everything on the screen except for mini bosses. Whenever it's safe to do so, go ahead and grab all the treasure you see. If the situation is not safe, it's not that big of a deal to miss some treasure here and there in order to prioritize your survival. Another tip is if you pick up a weapon that you don't want, like the grenade launcher or crossbow, you can hit your reload button to drop it immediately. This is extra helpful after you get Fate of Firepower later on that gives you a permanent death machine. Gobblegum machines appear at the end of every arena, which is every 4 rounds. You are going to continue grabbing these 3 gums from the Gobblegum machine and repeat the tact diffusion and who's keeping score tactics through round 12. Then grab your exit strategy and swap to the second pack that I mentioned earlier. You can get through pretty much the entire game with just saving these gums for boss fights, but feel free to use them more often if you'd like. After round 11, you will go to a bonus room with your first Slayer Mart. The upgrades you buy here are super important for both boosting your score and helping survival throughout the rest of the game. On this first one, you absolutely want to buy a 5-minute jet gun, which will carry you through the first boss after round 12. After that, here's the list of everything that you can buy for this run, listed in order of importance. Gem Geode gives you a bunch of gems to help boost your multiplier and comes in packs of ×1 to ×5. You want to grab at least a ×3 if you see it. Gem Cutter makes your gems worth more points and give a bigger bonus to your score multiplier. Aether Shroud is the best field upgrade, but it's also super expensive, so feel free to grab Tesla Storm as a cheaper option. Tippable makes all your treasure more valuable and give a bigger bonus to your score multiplier. Fury Output can be bought after acquiring Fate of Firepower and boost your death machine damage by 30%. Dead Operator will boost your player and chicken damage by another 25%. And Gem Hex Vortex will make vortexes give you gems that are twice as big. Feel free to buy any of these that you can afford, but the ones on top are definitely ones you want to prioritize. If you don't see anything good listed in your shop, you do start with 3 free rerolls and can buy packs of 3 more for $12.50 each. Rerolling is fine, but don't go broke doing it. Try not to use more than 6 rerolls per Slayer Mart. When you get to boss fights, if you have a jet gun, hold down your aim down sight button to both suck zombies from far away and heat blast zombies nearby. Plus, this brings cash coins to you, which helps grab them before they despawn. Boss arenas give you 3 dedicated lives that are only active in that arena. If you run out of lives, you fail the arena and move on without getting all the extra loot and Slayer Mart, but you'll never lose any of your real lives. Focus on getting as many coins as possible since there will be a Slayer Mart after every boss. There are stopwatch power-ups that give you 30 more seconds in each arena, which is nice. When the boss spawns, feel free to use your wall-to-wall clearance for tons of nukes so you can focus damage on him. These boss fights also have lots of vehicle and score streak spawns, so keep an eye out for those too. When you get past round 16, you're taken to the Long Climb where you can choose your fate. In order to see your fate, when you jump across this first bridge, head to the bottom left and kill the Mangler. When you get to the top of the volcano, there's a Xursa. The easiest way to kill him in top down is to shoot until he's right up on you, then grab the first person power up for 10 seconds of invulnerability. If you killed the Mangler earlier, that will make it so that the Fate Stones at the end have visible differences, and you want to choose the red one for Fate of Firepower. In casual mode, you're given a lot of options for different arenas. I'm not going to walk you through every arena step by step, but here are the general best ones to choose. On round 4, head to Babylon since there are a lot of crates around the map that you can destroy for extra treasure. On round 8, it doesn't matter as much, but I prefer Nuketown because of the vibes and to get me excited for Paradox Junction. On round 20, choose Motel because it has the better bonus room with silverback slideways. On round 24, choose Homestead because it's the most open, has the best bonus room, and so you fight the Mega Abomination. And round 32 doesn't really matter, you can choose either of the options. Bonus rooms happen after the 3rd round of every arena, so on rounds 3, 7, 11, 15, and so on. Sometimes bonus rooms will state that they are a hazard zone, like the Nuke Yard and Akari Exit. This means that if you die in here, you will indeed lose a life. If it states bonus room or silverback challenge, then you can die and keep respawning at checkpoints. When you get to round 20, if you haven't used your exit strategy yet, go ahead and convert it for some Slayer Mart cash, then swap to your second Gobblegum pack. You always want to have crate power on you, then can feel free to grab anywhere but here, respin cycle, or wall-to-wall clearance. Feel free to use them whenever you'd like, just be aware that you absolutely want to have all your gums for the Mega Bomb after round 28 and Papaback on round 40. Papaback really isn't much different than other bosses, except that his arena is smaller and he has a bit more health. On round 36, I would recommend not grabbing a backup crate power and instead getting wall-to-wall clearance, respin cycle, and anywhere but here. Try to use these 3 gums right before he spawns, with respin cycle being the last one you use. This should give you plenty of extra damage to smoke him really quickly. If you don't end up killing him during the vehicle, make sure to avoid his dash attacks by either using your own dash or a nuke to get a second of invulnerability. When you beat Papaback, you will get a ton of extra gems and be taken to the victory screen. Using this strategy, you should be able to easily get anywhere from 10 to 15 million points depending on how high you get your multiplier and a bit of RNG. If you ever want help with anything zombies, I stream with viewers multiple times a week and have an active Discord community who are always helping each other out. If you found this video helpful, let me know by dropping a thumbs up. And feel free to subscribe for more in-depth guides and entertaining content in the future.